Just yesterday, we entered into Lent. Whether you pay attention to the liturgical calendar or not, it really is kind of a different time when Valentine's Day and Ash Wednesday fall on the same day. That doesn't matter because Lent is a season, it's a season of many things. Have any thoughts? Do you remember? Do you practice? A lot goes through my mind and my heart during this season. I ache to want to make more time, more focus, more love, a deeper commitment, an intentional sacrifice to be more contemplative, to live a more dedicated life, and so much more. What can take me to or help me to meander towards some of these places? Well, it's great questions, open-ended questions that give space for that pondering and meandering. Jesus was an artist at great questions and well-timed questions. In this passage today that we're looking at in Mark, Jesus does just that. Right before he tells his disciples what's ahead, about the suffering to come, about his death. I suspect that he kind of wanted to see if they were really understanding who he was, if they had any idea about the purpose of his life, if they had any clue to the bigger vision that they were a part of. This is how the Passion Translation says, Mark 8:27-30. Then Jesus and his disciples walked to the villages near Caesarea Philippi. On the way, he posed this question to his disciples. Who do the people say that I am? They replied, some say John the Baptizer, others say Elisha, the prophet, and still others say you must be one of the prophets. Then he asked them, but who do you say that I am? Peter spoke up and said, you are the Messiah, the Son of the living God. And then Jesus warned them not to breathe a word of this to anyone. What an insightful conversation with multiple questions, right? Getting more tender and targeted. Both were open-ended. He wanted them to ponder, to wander in their minds, to reflect in their hearts and their souls. And they did, they pondered. And they wondered and wandered in the discovery of what he to ask. Such insight to ask the way he did. Who do the people say that I am? You've been hanging out with them. You listen to what they're saying after I teach, after I heal, after I've touched, when I've fed or cared for, walked with, after I have loved. You've been there to interact and to hear. And this is what they said. This is what they reported. Some say John the Baptizer. Others say Elisha, the prophet. And still others say you must be one of the prophets. There are a lot of thoughts there, right? A lot of speculation. They tell him all of it, and it's a bit inconclusive. They don't see all of Jesus. They see one part, the prophetic part. They don't see all of him, so they don't really see him. The voice says, Mark 8:27-30 this way. As he traveled with his disciples into the villages of Caesarea Philippi, he posed an important question to them. Who do the people say that I am? They told him about the great speculation concerning his identity. Some of them say you are John the Baptist. Others say Elisha, while others say one of the prophets of old. Jesus, pressing the question, said, and who do you say that I am? And Peter said, you are God's anointed, the liberating king. And Jesus said, don't tell anyone. It's not time yet. Jesus asked deeper, more thought-provoking, more personal pondering, so that they could engage from what others said to, what have you seen? The Message says, Mark 8:27-30 this way. Jesus and his disciples headed out for the villages around Caesarea Philippi. And they walked, and he asked, who do the people say I am? Some say John the Baptizer, they said. Others say Elisha. Still others say one of the prophets. And then he asked, and you? What are you saying about me? Who am I? And Peter gave the answer, you are the Christ, the Messiah. And Jesus warned them to keep quiet, to not breathe a word of it to anyone. And you, what are you saying about me? Who am I? I mean, dig deeper. We've been hanging out together. You've been able to see beyond. You've seen me in so many moments stretching. You've asked for guidance. Who am I? You're going to really need to know this in the days ahead. Who am I? Who am I? Who am I? And Peter got it. He gave an answer. You are the Christ, the Messiah. You know, Jesus knew what was ahead. I mean, he told them in the next part of the text about his suffering and pain, his death, what was coming in front. And he knew that they would need to know, to be convinced, to be certain who he was, that would equip them and empower them for them to live into their future. Guess what? For us to live into our future, to claim the life that God created for each one of us, their beloved, we too need to know who Jesus is for us. May this Lent, this season of Lent, 6 weeks up until Easter, may we be open to make time to ponder, to reflect, to be with and to know, and to allow the Spirit to reveal and to speak so that we too can answer, who is Jesus? Who's Jesus to me? Pray with me. Gracious God, there are some questions that are just not easy to answer, but Jesus is so good at asking them, allowing time to ponder, to grow, to stretch, knowing that it's not a true or false. It's a meandering. It's a relationship question. Who am I? Who am I to the world? Who am I to you? Who am I in a relationship to the Creator? Who am I? May we take time and spend moments in this season of Lent to reflect that. Who is Jesus to us? Is he a good guy, a good teacher? Teaches us about kindness, treated people well. Is he the Messiah? Is he a healer? Is he a lover of souls? Can he transform our lives so that we might be like him? Let us ask and let us pause and reflect and hear your Spirit speak to us so we can tell other people, this is who Jesus is to me. Amen. Kathy, now we invite you to help us in a breath practice that might make room for some of this pondering and this wandering that we need to do this season. Thanks, my friend.
For our breathing today, we're going to use a seated posture, placing your palms one on top of the other and then just placing it at the top of the abdominal area, right underneath the chest. And as you inhale, push the palms out, and then a quick exhale. Inhale through nose. Push palms out. Exhale through mouth open. Inhale. Inhale. Let's do 2 more. Inhale. Inhale. And then allow your breathing to come back to its normal inhale and exhale. This kind of breathing can be used when you are especially anxious about something and lets go of the pressure inside of you in a very forceful way. Thanks for breathing with me.